The discovery. Dr. Elena Vasquez stared at the holographic display floating above her workstation, her coffee growing cold as she studied the impossible readings. The underground research facility hummed with activity around her, but Elena barely noticed the other scientists moving between quantum computers and experimental chambers. After 3 years of studying the alien artifacts recovered from the Proxima dig site, she had finally cracked the code. "This can't be right," she whispered, running her fingers through her dark hair. The equations on her screen showed something that challenged everything humanity knew about physics. The alien technology didn't just bend space and time. It existed in multiple realities at once. Professor David Kim approached her workstation, his shoes clicking against the polished floor. He was Elena's closest colleague, and the only person who understood her quantum engineering theories. "Elena, you've been here for 18 hours straight. The security guards are starting to worry about you." She turned to face him, her brown eyes wide with excitement. "David, look at this. The alien crystal matrix isn't just storing energy. It's creating quantum superposition on a macro scale. The entire structure exists in dozens of different states simultaneously." David leaned over her shoulder to examine the data. His face went pale as he processed what he was seeing. "Elena, if this is accurate, it means the aliens who built this could exist in multiple dimensions at the same time. They could be here and not here, solid and incorporeal, all at once." "Exactly," Elena said, standing up and pacing around her workstation. "But here's the incredible part. I think I've figured out how to replicate it. We can build human technology that uses the same principles." The laboratory's main doors slid open with a soft hiss, and Admiral Sarah Williams walked in flanked by 2 security officers. She was a tall woman with steel gray hair, and the kind of presence that commanded immediate attention. Elena had met her only once before, during the initial briefing about the alien artifacts, but she remembered the Admiral's reputation as Earth's most decorated space combat veteran. "Dr. Vasquez," Admiral Williams said, her voice carrying the authority of someone who had commanded fleets in the outer colonies, "I've been reading your preliminary reports. Is it true that you found a way to make our ships untouchable?" Elena exchanged a glance with Professor Kim before answering. "Admiral, the technology is more complex than that. We're talking about quantum phase shifting. A ship equipped with this technology wouldn't just be hard to hit. It would exist in multiple quantum states. Enemy weapons would pass right through it because it wouldn't be entirely present in any single reality." Captain Marcus Chen stepped into the laboratory behind the Admiral. He was younger than Elena had expected, probably in his early 40s, with the steady demeanor of someone who had seen real combat. His uniform bore the insignia of the Outer Colony Defense Force, and Elena noticed laser burn scars on his hands from some past battle. "Doctor," Captain Chen said, "I've fought the Hegemony Empire twice in the last 5 years. Their ships are bigger, faster, and better armed than anything we have. If you're telling me we can build something that makes their weapons useless, I need to know how quickly we can make it happen." Admiral Williams activated a holographic projector from her wrist device. The image that appeared showed the outer edge of the solar system, where human deep space monitoring stations kept watch for alien incursions. 3 days ago, our long-range sensors detected hegemony scout ships at the edge of the Kuiper Belt. They've been watching us, studying our defenses. Intelligence suggests they're planning something big. Elena felt her heart rate increase. The Hegemony Empire had been humanity's primary threat for over a decade. They were a coalition of aggressive alien species that viewed humans as inferior beings, suitable only for conquest and slavery. Every human colony beyond Jupiter lived under constant threat of hegemony raids. "How long do we have?" Elena asked. "Unknown," Admiral Williams replied, "but probably not long, which is why I'm authorizing Project Phoenix. Dr. Vasquez, Professor Kim, I'm giving you unlimited resources and the best engineers in the Defense Force. Build me a ship that can use this quantum technology." Professor Kim pulled up his own workstation and began running calculations. Admiral, even with unlimited resources, we're talking about technology that's completely theoretical. We've never tested quantum phase shifting on anything larger than a marble. Then we start testing, Captain Chen said. Admiral, I volunteer to lead the test program. If we're going to put human lives at risk with untested technology, it should be volunteers who understand the stakes. Elena looked at the 3 military officers surrounding her workspace. She had spent her entire career in theoretical physics, working with equations and simulations. Now they were asking her to build something that could determine humanity's survival. The weight of responsibility felt crushing. I'll need a team of at least 50 specialists, she said finally. Quantum physicists, engineers, material scientists, and computer programmers. And we'll need a dedicated facility with the most advanced quantum computers on Earth. Admiral Williams smiled for the first time since entering the laboratory. Dr. Vasquez, you just got promoted to Director of Quantum Warfare Research. Consider the entire Cheyenne Mountain complex at your disposal. 6 months later, Elena stood in the massive underground hangar beneath Cheyenne Mountain, watching the final assembly of humanity's first quantum-locked warship. The UES Phoenix was unlike any vessel ever built by human hands. Its hull was composed of crystalline matrices infused with the same alien quantum technology they had studied, but engineered and enhanced by human innovation. The ship was smaller than traditional warships, only 800 meters long, but it bristled with weapon systems that existed in multiple dimensional phases. Its sleek black hull seemed to shimmer and fade at the edges, as if it wasn't entirely solid. Blue energy conduits ran along its surface, pulsing with the rhythm of quantum fields that kept the vessel stable across multiple realities. Captain Chen had been promoted to commander and chosen as the Phoenix's first captain. He stood beside Elena, watching his new crew run final system checks. The bridge crew had trained for months on quantum navigation and multi-dimensional combat tactics. They were the first humans ever trained to fight while existing in multiple realities simultaneously. All systems show green, reported Chief Engineer Maya Patel over the communication system. She was a brilliant young woman who had helped Elena solve dozens of quantum engineering problems during the ship's construction. Quantum lock drive is stable and ready for activation. Commander Torres approached Elena and Captain Chen. Lisa Torres was the ship's tactical officer, a combat veteran who had survived 3 hegemony attacks on the Mars colonies. She had volunteered for the Phoenix program after losing her previous ship and half her crew to alien plasma cannons. Director Vasquez, Commander Torres said, the crew is ready for the first quantum lock test. We've run thousands of simulations, but we all know real space is different than computer models. Elena nodded. She had spent sleepless nights worrying about the same thing. The quantum lock drive worked perfectly in laboratory conditions, but space was full of variables they couldn't predict. Cosmic radiation, gravitational fields, and quantum fluctuations could all affect the ship's ability to maintain coherent existence across multiple dimensions. Remember, Elena told the assembled officers, once you activate quantum lock in combat mode, the system locks itself to prevent dimensional paradoxes. You'll exist in multiple quantum states until the threat is neutralized, or the system fails completely. There's no going back until the fight is over. Captain Chen climbed the ramp to the Phoenix's main airlock. He paused and turned back to Elena. Doctor, in all your calculations and simulations, what do you think our chances are against a full hegemony fleet? Elena had run those same calculations hundreds of times. On paper, the Phoenix should be virtually invincible. But she was a scientist, trained to consider all possibilities, including failure. Marcus, if the quantum lock drive works as designed, a single Phoenix-class ship should be able to engage an entire enemy fleet. The quantum states will make you nearly impossible to target, and your weapons will strike from dimensions they can't defend against. And if it doesn't work? Elena looked at the sleek warship that represented 3 years of her life's work and humanity's best hope for survival. Then we'll have built the most expensive tomb in human history. 2 weeks later, Elena's worst fears and greatest hopes were about to be tested. The Hegemony Empire had finally made their move, launching a massive invasion fleet toward the human colony world of New Geneva. The colony housed nearly 2 million people and served as the administrative center for the outer settlements. If New Geneva fell, it would open the door for hegemony forces to push toward Earth itself. Admiral Williams stood in the Phoenix's Combat Information Center, watching tactical displays that showed the approaching alien fleet. The numbers were staggering. Over 400 hegemony warships, including dreadnoughts capable of cracking planets. It was the largest alien military force ever assembled against humanity. "Phoenix, this is Earth Control," came the voice from the communication system. "You are authorized to engage the enemy fleet. All of humanity is counting on you." Elena sat at a specially designed console that let her monitor the quantum lock systems in real time. Every calculation she had ever made, every theory she had ever proposed, was about to be tested in the crucible of actual combat. She looked around the bridge at the crew members who had volunteered to risk their lives on her untested technology. Captain Chen sat in the command chair, his hand steady on the controls despite the magnitude of what they were facing. "All hands, this is the captain. In 5 minutes, we will engage a hegemony fleet that outnumbers us 400 to 1. But we are not the same humans who have been running from alien threats for the past decade. Today, we show the galaxy what human ingenuity can accomplish when pushed to its limits." Elena watched her quantum field displays as the Phoenix approached the edge of the New Geneva system. The alien fleet was spread across thousands of kilometers of space, their ships glowing with the ominous red energy signatures of hegemony plasma weapons. Each vessel was larger than the Phoenix, built for conquest and destruction. "Elena," Captain Chen said quietly, "activate quantum lock." Dr. Elena Vasquez pressed the activation sequence she had programmed 3 years ago. The Phoenix began to vibrate as quantum fields enveloped the ship, and Elena felt the strangest sensation of her life, as if she existed in multiple places simultaneously. The bridge lights shifted through colors that had no names, and she could see ghostly images of the ship's crew as they appeared in different quantum states. "Quantum lock drive activated," Chief Engineer Puddle reported. "We are now existing in 23 different dimensional phases simultaneously." Through the main view screen, Elena watched the hegemony fleet react with confusion as their sensors tried to lock onto a target that existed everywhere and nowhere at once. The Phoenix had become something unprecedented in galactic warfare, a ghost ship that could touch reality without being touched in return. The real test was about to begin. The test of fire. Overlord Krex stood in the command chamber of his flagship, the Dominator, watching his tactical displays with growing confusion. The massive hegemony vessel stretched for 3 kilometers, its hull bristling with enough firepower to reduce a moon to rubble. Around him, the bridge crew, a mix of gray-skinned hegemony officers and conquered alien species forced into service, struggled to understand what their sensors were showing them. "Overlord," reported his tactical officer, a nervous creature with 4 arms and compound eyes. "We are detecting the human vessel, but our targeting systems cannot achieve lock. The ship appears to be in multiple locations simultaneously." Krex was a veteran of 50 conquest campaigns across the galaxy. He had destroyed the fleets of 17 different species and reduced their homeworlds to slave colonies. His reputation for ruthless efficiency had made him the hegemony's supreme fleet commander. But he had never encountered anything like what his instruments were showing him now. "Impossible," Krex growled, his voice carrying the authority of someone accustomed to total obedience. "No species has technology that can affect targeting systems across an entire fleet. The humans are using some kind of electronic warfare." But even as he spoke, Krex felt a chill of uncertainty. The human ship on his view screen looked wrong somehow, as if it wasn't entirely present in normal space. Its edges seemed to fade in and out of existence, and he could swear he saw multiple versions of the same vessel occupying different positions. Aboard the Phoenix, Commander Lisa Torres monitored her tactical systems with amazement. The quantum lock drive was performing beyond their most optimistic projections. The ship existed in 23 different quantum states, making it effectively impossible for conventional weapons to target. Even more incredible, their own weapons could fire from multiple dimensional phases simultaneously. "Captain," Torres reported, "I'm reading 412 hegemony vessels in attack formation. Their flagship is designated as a Planet Killer class dreadnought. But sir, they can't seem to get a targeting lock on us." Captain Chen studied the tactical display that showed the massive alien fleet spread across the New Geneva system. Each hegemony ship was easily twice the size of the Phoenix, and their combined firepower was sufficient to sterilize entire star systems. Under normal circumstances, a single human ship would last less than a minute against such overwhelming odds. "Belina," Captain Chen asked, "how are the quantum systems holding up?" Dr. Vasquez monitored her displays from the science station she had specifically designed for quantum field management. The readings were unlike anything she had ever seen in laboratory conditions. "Marcus, it's incredible. The quantum lock drive is actually getting stronger as we maintain the field. We're now existing in 25 different dimensional states. The system is somehow learning and adapting in real time." Chief Engineer Maya Patel called up from the engine room through the communication system. "Captain, I'm seeing power levels I didn't think were possible. The quantum crystalline matrix is resonating with local spacetime in ways we never predicted. We're not just phase-shifted anymore. We're becoming something entirely new." Lieutenant Alex Rodriguez, the Phoenix's weapons officer, studied his control panels with growing excitement. He was a young officer who had joined the Defense Force after his home colony was destroyed in a hegemony raid. This battle represented his chance for revenge against the aliens who had killed his family. "Captain," Rodriguez reported, "quantum torpedo tubes are loaded and ready. Plasma cannon arrays are charged and locked onto multiple targets. Sir, with our dimensional phase shifting, I can hit them from angles they can't possibly defend against." The hegemony fleet had spread into attack formation, clearly intending to overwhelm the single human ship through sheer numbers. Overlord Krex's voice crackled over the communication channels as he broadcast on all frequencies. "Human vessel." Krex's translation came through in heavily accented English. "You are outnumbered 400 to 1. Your species has resisted the hegemony empire for too long. Surrender now, and I will grant you the honor of quick deaths. Continue this futile resistance, and I will ensure your colony world burns for days before its people die." Captain Chen activated the Phoenix's communication array. His voice was calm and steady as he responded to the alien overlord. "Overlord Krex, this is Captain Marcus Chen of the United Earth ship Phoenix. You have entered human space with hostile intent and threatened innocent civilians. Turn your fleet around and leave this system, or we will remove you." The alien commander's laughter boomed across the communication channels. "Remove us? One small human ship against the might of the hegemony empire. Your species has always been foolish, but this surpasses all previous examples of human stupidity." "We'll see about that," Captain Chen replied. He cut the communication and turned to his crew. "All hands, battle stations. This is what we trained for. Today, we show the galaxy that humanity doesn't just survive. We protect what's ours." Dr. Vasquez felt her heart pounding as she watched the quantum field readings spike across her displays. The Phoenix was about to engage in the first quantum-dimensional combat in galactic history. Every theory she had developed, every equation she had solved, was about to be tested against an enemy that had conquered half the known galaxy. "Overlord Krex is ordering his fleet to attack," Commander Torres reported from her tactical station. "All 412 vessels are targeting our position and preparing to fire." "Let them," Captain Chen said. "Belina, are we ready?" "Quantum lock drive is stable and operating at maximum efficiency," Dr. Vasquez confirmed. "We're existing in 25 different dimensional phases. Their weapons shouldn't be able to touch us." The hegemony fleet opened fire with coordinated precision, that had destroyed countless civilizations. Plasma cannons, quantum disruptors, and gravitational weapons filled space with enough destructive energy to vaporize asteroids. The combined firepower of 412 warships converged on the Phoenix's position in a display of raw power that had never failed to annihilate enemy resistance. Helena watched her instruments as the alien weapons approached. The quantum lock drive performed exactly as her calculations had predicted. The devastating energy beams and projectiles passed harmlessly through the Phoenix as if the ship wasn't there. Some shots hit alternate dimensional versions of the vessel, causing minor vibrations, but the primary ship remained completely unharmed. "Impossible," came Overlord Krex's voice over the communication system. "Our weapons pass directly through your vessel. What kind of technology is this?" "The kind you can't understand," Captain Chen replied. "Alex, return fire. Show them what human quantum weapons can do." Lieutenant Rodriguez targeted the quantum torpedo launchers at a cluster of hegemony destroyers. When he fired, the torpedoes launched from multiple dimensional phases simultaneously. To the alien fleet, it appeared as if the weapons materialized from empty space, approaching from angles that violated the basic laws of physics. The first quantum torpedo struck a hegemony destroyer, but because the weapon existed in multiple dimensions, it also hit 5 other ships at the same time. 6 alien vessels exploded in brilliant fireballs that lit up the darkness of space. The remaining hegemony ships recoiled in shock as they tried to understand how a single torpedo had destroyed multiple targets. "Fire plasma cannons," Captain Chen ordered. The Phoenix's energy weapons discharged from 25 different dimensional states at once. The plasma beams split across quantum phases, striking dozens of enemy ships from impossible angles. Hegemony vessels that thought they were safely positioned behind other ships found themselves under attack from directions that shouldn't exist. In less than 10 minutes, the Phoenix had destroyed or crippled over 80 hegemony warships. The alien fleet, which had approached with supreme confidence, now scattered in panic as their commanders tried to fight an enemy that existed beyond their understanding of reality. Overlord Krex's flagship, the Dominator, was the most heavily armed vessel in the hegemony fleet. Its shields and armor had withstood attacks from entire enemy fleets, but when the Phoenix's quantum weapons struck from multiple dimensions simultaneously, the massive dreadnought's defenses crumbled like paper. "Shield generators failing," reported Krex's tactical officer. "Hull breaches on decks 15 through 30. We're losing primary power to weapon systems." For the first time in his long career of conquest, Overlord Krex experienced something he had never felt before: helplessness. His mighty fleet was being systematically dismantled by a single human ship that seemed to exist beyond the normal laws of physics. Chief Engineer Patel's voice came over the Phoenix's communication system with barely contained excitement. "Captain, the quantum field is expanding beyond the ship. I'm reading dimensional phase effects spreading to our crew. We're not just piloting a quantum ship anymore. We're becoming quantum beings." Dr. Vasquez checked her readings and confirmed Maya's report. "Marcus, the quantum field is somehow bonding with human brain patterns. The crew is beginning to exist in multiple dimensional states, just like the ship." Captain Chen felt the change himself. He could sense the positions of enemy vessels in ways that had nothing to do with his visual displays. It was as if he existed in multiple places simultaneously, giving him awareness that transcended normal human perception. "This is incredible," Commander Torres reported. "I can see the enemy fleet from dozens of different angles at once. Their formations, their weak points, their planned movements. It's all visible simultaneously." The Phoenix continued its impossible assault on the hegemony fleet. Quantum torpedoes and plasma beams struck from every conceivable angle, destroying alien ships faster than their commanders could react. The proud fleet that had conquered dozens of worlds was being reduced to burning wreckage by weapons they couldn't understand or defend against. After 30 minutes of one-sided combat, Overlord Krex made a decision that would have been unthinkable an hour earlier. He opened communication channels to the Phoenix, but his voice no longer carried the arrogance of a conqueror. Instead, it shook with the fear of someone who had encountered something beyond his comprehension. "Human Captain," Krex said, "I formally request cessation of hostilities. The Hegemony Empire acknowledges defeat and withdraws all claims to human space." Captain Chen looked around his bridge at his crew, who were all staring at their displays in amazement. In less than an hour, they had accomplished what seemed impossible, defeating the most powerful alien military force in known space. "Elena," Captain Chen asked quietly, "what have we become?" Dr. Vasquez studied her quantum field readings with wonder and slight concern. "Marcus, I think we've evolved beyond normal human limitations. The quantum lock technology hasn't just made us harder to hit, it's fundamentally changed what we are. We exist in multiple realities simultaneously. We can perceive and interact with dimensions that other species can't even detect." The implications were staggering. Humanity had not just gained a new weapon, they had undergone a transformation that made them something entirely new in galactic civilization. Within hours of the battle's end, news of humanity's impossible victory spread across the galaxy faster than light travel. Alien species that had lived in fear of hegemony conquest began sending messages to Earth, requesting protection and alliance. Others offered tribute and submission to what they now perceived as the galaxy's new dominant species. Admiral Williams stood in the Phoenix's briefing room, reviewing reports from across human space. Every major alien government had sent diplomatic envoys to Earth within days of the battle. Some offered trade agreements, others requested military protection, and a few simply begged for mercy. "Dr. Vasquez," Admiral Williams said, "your quantum lock technology has changed everything. Humanity just became the most powerful military force in known space. Every alien species is either trying to ally with us or surrender to us." Elena looked out through the briefing room's viewport at the debris field that had once been the hegemony's greatest fleet. She had set out to build a defensive weapon to protect human colonies. Instead, she had created something that transformed humanity's place in the galaxy overnight. "Admiral," Elena replied, "we need to be very careful about how we use this power. The quantum lock drive doesn't just make us militarily superior, it's changing us on a fundamental level. We're becoming something that other species can't comprehend or compete with." Captain Chen joined the conversation from his position at the tactical display. "The question is, what do we do now? We have the power to protect every human colony, but we also have the power to conquer anyone who opposes us." Elena considered the question that would determine humanity's future role in galactic civilization. The quantum lock technology had given them unprecedented power, but with that power came responsibilities that would shape the destiny of countless worlds and species. "We use it to protect," she said finally. "We become the guardians that the galaxy needs, not the conquerors it fears. We've proven that human ingenuity can overcome any threat. Now we prove that human character can be trusted with absolute power." The Phoenix continued its patrol of human space, but it was no longer alone. Construction had begun on an entire fleet of quantum-locked vessels, each one crewed by humans who were evolving beyond the limitations of single-dimensional existence. Earth had become the center of a new galactic order, one built on the principle that the impossible was just another engineering problem waiting to be solved. Dr. Elena Vasquez stood on the bridge of humanity's first quantum warship and smiled. 3 years ago, she had been studying alien artifacts in an underground laboratory. Now she was helping to write the next chapter of human civilization among the stars. The galaxy would never be the same, and neither would humanity. The age of human dominance had begun, not through conquest, but through the unstoppable power of human imagination and determination.